Hello everyone, this is Michael. I'm a staff developer advocate here at GitLab, and today I want to dive into custom rules with GitLab Duo and Agentic Chat. So just a quick introduction, what are custom rules? In a way, you can specify the development guidelines, you can make sure that specific files and structures are always created or available in your project, but you can also help LLMs and AI agents navigate your project, can instruct them how to read issues and merge requests in a remote GitLab project, but certainly also different build tools, requirements, compilers, and so on. In order to do that, you can get started by creating a new file in your IDE or in your GitLab project in that regard. So I have a local GitLab project checked out here, and within .gitlab/duo/chat-rules.md, you can see that there is custom instructions already here. The structure is free text, but you can certainly use Markdown to structure the custom rules for Agentic Chat. And what I did here is just to provide you a quick overview. It should always share a summary of proposed and executed actions. I want to have a git ignore created for the development environment and all the programming languages. This is something I always need to look up some way or find a template, and I would love for agents to just create it. I can certainly add that into a chat prompt and say, please create that for me, and it will do that. But when I bootstrap a project, it's my expectation that it should happen. The other thing I've been developing over the last couple of days and weeks was using issue and MR templates, because you can define them directly in the GitLab repository in the .gitlab/issue templates and also merge request templates path, and populate that with a template. Best practice would be using a project template for those specific imports, but you can also reference existing templates, even from a web accessible URL, which I did here. And the goal would be to show that agents are capable of downloading that, but also asking for permissions. It should use that as a basis and then populate that. For build tools, there's a variety of things we can configure, and don't feel overwhelmed by the list. It's really just a combined example. For the project we will be looking into, we will have C code. So the expectation is that some CMake will pop up. We will have Python, and we also will have Node.js. So the expectation is that it will either use npm or yarn for package management and so on. We also want to enforce a Docker file to create container images and be able to test it faster. And another area to keep an eye out for is, especially when you create open source projects or projects that require proprietary licenses, you can say, well, always add the MIT license into the license file and use GitLab as a copyright holder, and it will start to populate that automatically. For code fixes and modernization, which is not directly bootstrapping, but I thought it would be helpful to see that here, can also refine that LLMs and agents shouldn't fix everything, but focus on the specific task they are asked for, and not fix trailing white spaces or any other things they find. We also want to create a basic readme.md for the project, and can certainly ask for more additional architecture designs and whatnot. And the most important bit for me is I always want to add best practices using CI/CD and security scanning. So in this example, I'm essentially forcing Agentic Chat or GitLab Duo agents to create a GitLab-ci.yaml file and apply best practices. So for example, add caching for C++, Python, Rust, anything that comes to mind. So it's not exclusive to this project here, but certainly can be used for any GitLab project you have in mind. And last but not least, we also want to add advanced SAST for security scanning, but also secret detection and dependency scanning. We can just copy the CI/CD structure here, so you can immediately see or like configure that in that format. So now we want to actually get to work and use these instructions and see what GitLab Duo Agentic Chat is capable of. So please help me bootstrap the project with the requirements. And I'm intentionally vague here, so it should read everything that is in the current directory, so the todo.md, but also the remote repository. You can see that it starts working. So it's updating, it's reading the todo.md, but also the existing files. It's doing many things. So it from the todo.md it extracted that it needs to read issue number 3 in the upstream project, read from the upstream project that the backend, middleware, and frontend should be this, and then starts to work. There are many agents running in parallel, so it might continue asking me things. Now it wants to download the issue templates that we created here, so we can approve that. So it will always ask us for approval for running these commands. And it attempts to fetch the template. There was an error, but the agent detected that, and now it asks again for approval to download that, and will certainly continue. This is unexpected, so agentic AI is even more unpredictable than AI or LLMs in general. So sometimes in a recording this happens and sometimes it does not. But the good thing here is that agents can detect these errors themselves and then attempt to fix that. And you as a user, you're not forced to kind of understand or dive into that. When agents don't know how to proceed, or Agentic Chat doesn't know how to proceed, it will ask you. And it won't execute any comments that would delete anything or would cause danger in that way, because you have the control of like reviewing what it does. In this case, it wants to run mkdir to create the backend structure, so we can approve that. In the future, there will be more fine granular permissions in a way that you, for example, could approve a certain tool run, so you don't have to approve directory creations all the time. But for now, this is just how it is. It's also very transparent, so you can see what it's actually creating on a file directory basis. We can see it created the CMake lists file, which is the configuration for CMake. For the build tools we wanted to have, and you can also see it starts updating the directory structure, which we have middleware is Python, frontend is Node.js, backend is C, and it continues working. The good thing is now it's working relatively fast. It creates the GitLab-CI YAML file, which we have here. You can see it uses the includes, which I specified, including GitLab Advanced SAST, builds the backend, builds the middleware, tests the middleware, and so on. Now it has finished its work. It created a readme.md file. Now it uses a specific tool to create an issue, and we need to approve that. So let's approve that and see what else is going on. And I mean, it's sorry for jumping so fast, but we can see it created the issue, and it will attempt to update the todo.md. So it deletes the actual tasks and documents how it completed the bootstrap tasks. It defined the project name. The project structure has been created with the multi-T architecture. You are ready to start development. here's a summary. It also added to-do items for future development. So comprehensive tests, implement actual DevSecOps logic. It only has placeholder, database integration, and so on. Would you like me to create GitLab issues or merge request for these critical items to help you continue development? The project is now fully bootstrapped. So we can say, well, yes, please create GitLab issues for the remaining tasks, and then get to see. So I intentionally added that as a custom rule before, so it needs to ask me that. And this is certainly a way to instruct agents to ask for permission or to even propose and think about this. If you want to apply that for your own development workflows, discuss it with the team, discuss it with specific requirements, because it doesn't apply to all the different companies, enterprises, open source projects, workflows, anything we are in, but it can certainly be helpful to instruct agents to think a little bit out of the box, especially since Agentic Chat or GitLab Duo is fully integrated with GitLab itself. So by navigating the chat interface, we can also what is this a lot? So it wants to create an issue at database integration and caching layer. This is markdown formatted. That's why it's so long and unreadable, but this is a list. Yeah, so the good thing here is you can create issues directly from Agentic Chat by instructing agents what to do. So it not only created this one issue, but it's actually created 3 issues. And we can actually see that here. So if I click on that now, we can see it's my identity. So it's using my identity here because I'm authenticated in Visual Studio Code with GitLab Duo against the GitLab API or the GitLab server. And we can see it created the specific tasks it has identified. It even links documentation how to get started with that, which is amazing. And if we navigate quickly into issues here, we can also see it added the tests. It added the rule logic in all components, which can be helpful and needed. Certainly, this is really a basic demo environment, I would say. So refining the project environments for you as an exercise to test GitLab Duo Agentic Chat with custom rules will be refine what the backend, middleware, and frontend will be, create a specification and an issue, and then let GitLab Duo Agentic Chat get to work again and bootstrap the project. I think this can be a really nice exercise to complete. Quickly navigating over here, we can also see it created a readme.md even with a mermaid chart for the architecture, because we asked it to in the custom rules definition. And if I press Command-Shift-V, we can actually see it created that mermaid chart and it's rendered in the readme.md. The quick start is here. It provides us with a development setup, so we can get started with that. And so on. I think this was a lot for today. I will persist the changes in a merge request, so you can follow up on that or test it by yourself. But certainly I would encourage you to just check out the chat rules here, modify them, experiment with them, iterate on them, and also let us know how things are going, because we are always happy to help in that way. There will be a blog post about this specific use case, including many other use cases for custom rules, so watch out for that on the GitLab blog. I will link that when it's published also in the video description. That being said, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day wherever you are, and see you in the next video around GitLab Duo Agentic Chat and the Duo Agent platform. Bye bye.